Homes across the Winston-Salem area are selling faster this month than they were just 30 days ago. In some cases, dramatically faster, but closed sales are actually down year over year. How do both of those things happen at the same time? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Welcome back. I'm Michaela Wall, owner of the W Group Real Estate, one of Winston's top real estate agents, and I'm here with your June 2026 Winston-Salem area market update. Today, we're breaking down what actually happened in the market during May of 2026. No hype, just the real data and what it means for you. We're covering Winston-Salem plus 4 surrounding communities: Lewisville, Clemmons, Pfafftown, and Kernersville. If one of those suburbs is your focus, hang tight because your area is coming up. Now let's get into it. Let's start with activity. How many homes came on the market and how many actually sold? In May of 2026, there were 427 new listings in Winston-Salem. That compares to 449 new listings in May 2025. So we're down 22 listings year over year, which works out to about a 4.9% dip in fresh inventory hitting the market compared to this same time last year. Now, that's not a dramatic drop, but it's worth noting. Fewer homes are coming on the market than last year at this time. On the closing side, 327 homes closed in May compared to 374 in May of last year. That's a drop of 47 closings or about 12.6% fewer transactions year over year. So here's where that question from the top of the video starts to take shape. Fewer homes closed compared to last year, but does that mean the market is slow? Not exactly, and in the next few slides, we're going to explain why. Let's talk about what's happening with prices because this is what everyone always wants to know. On a rolling 90-day basis, meaning the most recent 3 months of data, the median sales price in Winston-Salem came in at $309,900 for the period ending in May of 2026. The previous month's rolling 90-day median was $310,000. That's essentially flat. We're talking a $100 difference, which for all practical purposes is zero movement month over month. Prices have not moved off of that mark. But now, zoom out. When you look at the rolling 12-month median prices, a much broader view that smooths out the month-to-month noise, the median for the period ending in May 2026 is $300,000. For the same rolling 12-month period ending in May of 2025, that number was $280,000. That's a $20,000 increase year over year at a 7.1% gain. And this is actually a really important distinction to understand because these two numbers are telling you two different things at the same time, and both of them are true. In the short term, prices have leveled off and stabilized. Month to month, we're not seeing appreciation or depreciation of any significance, but the longer trend, the 12-month view, still reflects meaningful appreciation compared to where we were just a year ago. This is what a normalizing market looks like. Not a crash, not a frenzy, but prices finding a level and holding it while longer-term game remains intact. Now here's where it gets interesting. And this is the data point that directly answers the question that I opened with. The rolling 90-day days on market for Winston-Salem, meaning the median number of days it took homes to go from listed to under contract over the last 3 months, came in at 18 days for the period ending in May of 2026. The previous month's rolling 90-day figure, 26 days. That's a drop of 8 days. That's a 30.8% decrease in a single month. Homes are moving noticeably faster right now than they were just 30 days ago. That's a real meaningful shift, and it tells you that buyers who are active in this market are making decisions. Well-priced homes are not sitting. But let's look at the other side of the coin. Year over year, that picture looks different. The rolling 90-day days on market for the period ending May of 2025 was 12 days. So compared to a year ago, homes are actually taking 6 days longer to sell, a 50% increase in days on market year over year. This is worth paying attention to because framing matters enormously when you're reading market data. If someone tells you days on market is up 50% compared to last year, that sounds alarming. And if someone tells you homes are selling 31% faster than last month, that sounds great. Both statements are true. Both are describing the same market. What they're really telling you is what went through a slower stretch earlier this year and May brought a meaningful acceleration. The market is not as tight as it was in 2025, but that it's moving in a healthier direction right now. Let's wrap up Winston-Salem with inventory, specifically month supply, which measures how long it would take to sell all current listings at the current pace of sales. In May of 2026, the single month supply came in at 3.7. In May of 2025, that number was 2.6. That's an increase of 1.1 months year over year, a 42.3% jump in inventory relative to buyer demand compared to this time last year. For context, a balanced market is generally considered to be around 5 to 6 months of supply. Anything below 4 months still leans towards sellers. So at 3.7, we're at the upper edge of seller favorability territory, but trending towards balance. On a rolling 90-day basis, month supply came in at 3.1 for the period ending May 2026 compared to 2.7 for the period ending April 2026. That's an increase of 0.4 months month over month, confirming that inventory is gradually building. So putting the full Winston-Salem picture together, fewer closings than last year, prices stable in the short term and up year over year, homes selling faster than last month but slower than last year, and inventory continuing to build. This is a market in transition, not declining, but normalizing. And for buyers, that normalization is actually good news. More options, more time to think, and less pressure. Now, Winston-Salem's telling one story, but Clemmons just hit a listing milestone that it hasn't seen in 4 years, and Pfafftown saw a massive swing. So let's get into the suburbs. All right, let's start with Lewisville. New listings came in at 26 in May of 2026, compared to 21 in May of 2025. That's 5 more listings year over year, up 23.8%. Inventory is up in Lewisville relative to last year at this time. On closings, 25 homes closed in May compared to 13 in May of 2025. Now, I want to be straightforward with you. That May 2025 number of 13 was an unusually low outlier. It was not a typical month, so while the math shows a big year-over-year jump, the more accurate read is that May 2026 closings are simply back in a normal range for this market. 25 closings in Lewisville is a healthy, active month. The rolling 12-month median price for Lewisville came in at $425,000 for the period ending May 2026 compared to $420,000 for the period ending April 2026. That's a $5,000 increase, up 1.2% month over month. Prices in Lewisville are holding firm and nudging upward on the longer trend. Days on market dropped sharply. The rolling 90-day median came in at 27 days for the period ending May 2026, down from 41 days in April. That's a 14-day drop, a 34.1% decrease in a single month. Homes in Lewisville are moving meaningfully faster right now than they were just 30 days ago. I also publish a dedicated Lewisville market update every month, so if Lewisville is your primary focus and you'd like a much deeper breakdown of what's happening there, be sure to check out that video after this one. Now let's get into Clemmons and that milestone that I mentioned. In May 2026, Clemmons recorded 81 new listings. That's the highest single month new listing count in Clemmons since 2021. For comparison, May 2025 came in at 61 listings. So we're up 20 listings year over year, a 32.8% increase in fresh inventory. That's a significant jump, and it tells you that sellers in Clemmons are choosing to come to the market. More options for buyers, more competition for sellers. On the closing side, 54 homes closed in May of 2026 versus 55 in May of 2025. Essentially flat, nearly identical. So while listings surged, the pace of closings held steady. That inventory is building relative to absorption. The rolling 12-month median price for Clemmons is $425,000 for the period ending May of 2026, identical to the $425,000 recorded for the period ending April 2026. Prices in Clemmons are holding firm, no movement up or down on the longer trend. And days on market 25 days in the rolling 90-day period ending May of 2026, down from 32 days in April. That's a 7-day drop or a 21.9% decrease month over month. Even with record inventory hitting the market, homes that are priced right in Clemmons are still moving. Moving to Pfafftown. New listings came in at 25 in May of 2026, exactly the same as 25 in May of 2025. Dead flat year over year. Pfafftown's listing activity is consistent. Closed homes, 19 in May of 2026 versus 8 in May of 2025, similar to what we saw in Lewisville. That 2025 number was an extreme outlier, not a normal month. So the year-over-year comparison here isn't particularly meaningful as a trend indicator. What we can say is that 19 closings represents a solid active month for Pfafftown. Here's where I want to take a moment and talk about how to read suburb data responsibly, because Pfafftown is a great example of this. The rolling 12-month median price for Pfafftown came in at $335,250 for the period ending in May of 2026, compared to $335,000 for the period ending in April of 2026. That's a $250 difference, essentially zero movement. Prices in Pfafftown are flat and stable. Now, if you're looking at just the rolling 90-day data for Pfafftown, you might see a bigger swing, and it would be tempting to call that a trend, but in a similar market like Pfafftown, a handful of higher or lower price sales in any given month can move a short-term metric significantly without actually reflecting any real shift in underlying values. This is why the 12-month rolling view is much more reliable in smaller markets. It smooths out all of that noise. The honest read here is that Pfafftown prices are stable. What about days on market? 15 days on market for the rolling 90-day period ending in May of 2026, down from 28 days in April. That's a 13-day drop or 46.4% decrease month over month, the fastest moving market of the 5 recovering this month, at least by this metric. And last up, Kernersville. New listings in May of 2026 came in at 95, compared to 134 in May of 2025. That's a drop of 39 listings, a 29.1% decrease year over year. That's the sharpest year over year new listing decline of any market that we've covered today, and it's worth paying attention to. Fewer sellers are choosing to list in Kernersville compared to this time last year. Supply is quietly tightening there. Closed homes, 77 in May of 2026 versus 87 in May of 2025, down 10 closings, 11.5% decrease year over year. Transaction volume is lower, which tracks with fewer listings available. The rolling 12-month median price for Kernersville is $340,000 for the period ending in May of 2026, identical to the $340,000 for the period ending in April of 2026, completely flat. Prices in Kernersville are also holding steady. Days on market, 23 for the rolling 90-day period ending in May of 2026, down from 34 days in April, a drop of 11 days. A 32.4% decrease month over month, consistent with every other market that we've covered today. Homes are moving faster right now than they were a month ago. All right, let's zoom out and talk about what all of this actually means, whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or just keeping an eye on what your home is worth. If you're a seller, the long-term price trend is still working in your favor. The rolling 12-month median in Winston-Salem is up 7.1% year over year, and every suburb we've covered is actually showing stable to slightly appreciating prices on the longer trend. Your equity is intact. But inventory is rising, which means your competition is increasing. Pricing strategy and presentation matter more now than they did a year ago. Homes that are priced right are moving fast. The days on market data confirms that across all 5 markets. Homes that are overpriced are sitting. If you're a buyer, you have more options than you did a year ago. Inventory is up significantly across the board, giving you more room to be selective, but don't mistake more inventory for falling prices. The 12-month data shows prices are stable to slightly appreciating in every market that we've covered. The window to negotiate may be widening slightly, but well-priced homes are still moving fast. Do your homework before you're ready to move, because when the right home comes up, you may not have as much time as you think. And here's the broader takeaway for everyone. Winston-Salem remains one of the more accessible markets in North Carolina. A rolling 12-month median of $300,000 puts real homeownership within reach of a wide range of buyers, and that matters when you're looking at what comparable metros are doing with their price points. This is a normalizing market, not a collapsing one, not an overheating one, a market finding its equilibrium, and that's actually a healthy place to be. That's your June 2026 market data for the Winston-Salem area. If you found this helpful, please hit subscribe. I put out a new market update every single month, so you always have a clear, honest picture of what's happening locally. And if you have questions about what any of these numbers mean for your specific situation, whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or just want to know where you stand, reach out. I'm always happy to talk through it with you. I'm Michaela Wall with the W Group Real Estate. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next month.